Hey
Hey
we're
guys. Oh, you're gonna do
here.
it?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hello. Oh, we're here. We're live.
Okay. You just talked over me. Hey guys, this is Break Your Business. And on this show, what we're gonna do is find the gaps in your business. We're gonna look at your sales, your operations, and everything in terms of marketing. We want to break apart what you guys are doing and help you improve everything with AI technology and AI systems. And there's a lot of talk on what AI can do. And we're going to show you how we do it, how we build custom solutions, because that's the name of the game now is how can you get the best
Yeah.
data? How can you operationalize your business and how can you improve? Obviously, you want more sales, but you also have the ability now to scale affordable AI solutions that are going to really change and redefine how you run your business.
Definitely is going to redesign it. We're very excited. And not only because we're just going live, this is outside of our comfort zone. None of us are actors. So we're very happy to share with you some insights of exactly what we've been witnessing for the past couple of months. Since the past year, was it 2025? Yeah, since we started building agents, we've been building agents actually. So part of our conversation and part of why we're doing this is that we've been talking to a lot of people, business owners. They are asking us, oh, yeah, we're using ChatGPT, a Copilot, and maybe we're using some APIs here and there, recording some skills, but we haven't seen what we have to offer, which is at the end of this workshop, we'll be showing you a command center. How can you orchestrate your own agents? And this is no RPA. This is just directly from AI, and we're using the best models. So that's part of what we want to share with you. And we have other tips and insights that we will try to keep up with this because it's on a weekly basis. We have a lot of work, but I think it was a good idea from the team to actually document all of this so everyone can feel free to share their insights and comment on online. So leave your comments, and Paul also have some interesting insights.
Yeah, so I'm a social media expert, and from the perspective of social media, we've been dealing with search engine optimization for a while now, but now we're adding on to that with AEO, answer engine optimization, and just showing you how consumer habits have changed. People used to search for everything on Google. Now they're searching for a lot of things on ChatGPT and other AI models, and we want to show you the best way to show up in those results.
Oh yeah, everything changed.
Yeah, and what we did for this format as well is that we actually built an agent to do research for us. And that's the thing is any business problem you have, you can if you have the right use case, then you can find a really great way to handle it. And what we did is that we researched 100 business owners, founders, and startups to see what their real problems are, what the things that they're struggling with. And in this episode, we're going to cover that. We're going to break it down and address those problems so you can understand that you are not alone, that you have similar issues. And there's also a way to solve them and how we solve them here. So that's the number one thing that people talk about. And this, it doesn't matter how great the technology gets, what changes. If you are a business owner or you're launching your own business, you're a startup, you're a founder, or you have a successful business, a lot of folks feel like they are the single point of failure, that they're the bottleneck, right? Gilbert, you and I deal with this all the time. When we were doing stuff the old way, it's like we feel like we have to be in the business because we're doers and executors. And that's really not going away. But part of it is also understanding that you have to kind of improve processes so you can step outside and manage your business versus always executing and having your hands on every single task.
Yeah, it's really difficult to get out of that hat. Wearing multiple hats because I do it better than anyone else
No.
is kind of the go-to decision when we're getting started with a business. You're 100% right.
And there's a one concept. I like visuals, so in my mind, the way now to relieve this problem is, of course, if you're OCD like me, you do, and like you want things like perfect. You want it your way. Well, you can build agents, and basically instead of having hands, you're like an octopus. You have tentacles that are doing things, but in the way that you do it, and the way that you want it done. So it's a way to kind of extend as a superpower, kind of your way of thinking, your way of interacting,
Yeah, I
way of
like that.
doing work. Yeah. So that's kind of one thing. Like, so think about how you can grow your business with tentacles.
Exactly. Let's go to number two, and then let's remind our viewers that these are actually bullet points that our agent found online from 100 logistics and e-commerce companies and leaders. So we do have these bullet points not because we came up with them; it's just it's out there.
Exactly. Yeah. So everyone feels that, okay, I'm wearing a lot of hats. And what you need to be able to do is, it's not like you're going to get rid of the hats, but you have to give some of your hats to AI agents, to custom tools. You just have to get good at delegating it in the proper way. Yes, you're going to have a mix of employees and staff, but the thing is that you can equip them with an agent that they're running, that they're managing, and it's going to meet all of your requirements as well. So it's just another layer, another depth that you can add to remove
It
some
is
of this
another
kind of
hat.
hats. Yeah.
It is
Did it?
another
Yeah.
hat that will remove other hats.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's a nice top hat that has a lot more powerful. It's like the the wizarding hat, right? It's got some power to it versus just
Yeah.
an old cap.
Yeah, just to give an example, because there's a lot of people that actually had the same experience that we did. So we started building agents, and we realized that the AI model that you choose is extremely hardworking, like a hard worker employee. They work and they work. It's just AI, so it will push you to do more. But then we all have our own weekly schedule, and when an AI is asking you to go get an API, connect this and that, it's just time consuming. So back to the point of wearing multiple hats, this is part of it. If you start working with a digital workforce or an AI workforce, you will have another hat. What we will show you at the end of this video is a command center of how can you actually manage all of these hats in one place. So instead of having to go in and call someone, having multiple meetings, you will have just one place to manage all of these multiple hats, which makes it extremely useful for business owners.
Yeah. Everything lives in your head, so that's yeah. You got to write stuff down. But sometimes, if you're operating your business from your mind, then it's just you can't express that at scale to your staff or anyone that you're working with. So it comes down to building the right system based on your principles. And when you systematize what you're doing, then things don't have to live in your head. The things that live in your head are the inspirational ideas, the things that, and when you have the space for that, where you want to take your business, then that's a different level because you're thinking in a different way. But all of these structures and systems that we can create, these are what help you put into place your ideas, and then can do it rapidly, can iterate quickly, and can do it for a more cost-effective way when you combine custom applications and custom agents that are going to fulfill your business wishes and desires in the market. Yeah, and I think too, we can, I think we can jump back, Gilbert, because we can show. I think if you want to go back to the other hats, I still think that's important. Number two, we can show what this looks like, what different hats look like, because some people, in the warehouse, you have experience there, and in e-commerce, there are things that you have to do. There's a lot of fraud as well too. So if there's documentation, there's a way to create different agents to remove fraud by verifying documents and all these kind of approvals and processes. But those steps from warehousing, right, even just different inventory, right, management, there's still people involved there. And you told me before that there's a big disconnect between the systems, the fulfillment systems, and then the people working in the warehouses as well. So
Yeah,
what would a system look like to connect that?
Yeah, the first bottleneck we encounter on logistics was the disconnection between accounting, shipping, and marketing. So, and sales. Remember, it was sales too. So when our team was running we started working with this logistic company, over $50 million per year. They managed multiple ports, and we started running a campaign. We got the leads with a lead generation campaign, but then the sales team wasn't really following up. There was a disconnection. It's really simple. Basically, every major marketing firm goes to that and connects those systems. But then after that, they needed some kind of deposit. So for accounting was difficult because that process was manual. And then when you have those multiple processes, the owner of the company, sometimes if he's not there, then the process doesn't go through. And that's a huge problem. It was a huge problem until we connected everything. And nowadays, that was a few years back with just automation. But now with an agent, the difference between an agent and robot, for those who don't know, is that the agent actually is thinking, just like when you talk to Copilot or ChatGPT, any of these AI platforms, they can actually come up and with a reason and for you and understand what you're saying and come up with other suggestions. So by us putting an agent in place, we're able to connect systems. And not only that, if the lead is not good for the business, the agent will know it. So it doesn't have to go through all the process and waste the time of someone from sales to actually go in, try to find out who the person is. Sometimes you've seen it over and over, Jason, when we have spammers, people that are like the hackers, dedicated to just I don't know how to say this without cursing, but we're really pissed off at hackers. They just send emails and emails. Yes, I'm interested. And then when you figure out that the domain is not there, it's not the right one, then you have a hacker. So we eliminated all that process with agents. That's just a simple way to see how the hats of a logistic owner has been reduced to just monitoring what's going on with the agents.
Yeah, we could, and I think this is a good time to share some of that because we're talking about maybe one particular agent, but the whole point of this is looking at the whole system. If you want to share that.
Yep.
So we're at the point now where every business can build their own toys, build their own solutions. And that's what we help do. So this is a custom command center. And what you're looking at is basically how to manage all of your hats. So for logistics, we've got a few. We've got this Freight Guard one, which I was talking about earlier, which is there to verify documents because fraud is a huge risk in logistics.
We didn't put a music or anything. This should be like a wow moment for everyone. This is a custom. Let me underscore this. This is a custom command center. So what this means that on the sidebar, you will see several agents, and Jason is managing and he's showing you how can you manage an entire AI workforce on one custom dashboard that we design for all our clients. I just thought we should put that out there.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the application side. Now, you need a way to have all the insights into your business. And now the way that we work is different. It's no longer those businesses that are siloed, that you've got your Google Docs over here, you've got this system, you got this project, like everything is all scattered. That as an owner, that's frustrating because you don't really have the data, you don't have the insight into your business. So operating with a command center is part of the way of moving forward. When we first started doing this 5 years ago, before ChatGPT, a lot of companies, RPA, they tried to get close to this, but now the technology is so advanced that for every business, you should not settle for anything that's not custom for your own business. Right? Getting something off the shelf, it doesn't address your exact pain. So everything should be built around your exact pain points. So what you're seeing here is a way that you can manage all of the agents that you need for your business. You could have 50, but for this current logistics client, they have a few here. They have about 8. So the way it works is that all of these agents are custom. They're different workers that are doing different tasks. We have one right now that provides a variety of different tasks, but what you're seeing is, as an owner, you can go and talk to it directly if you feel like you want to. You can interact and it can do the task, but each agent has its own set of requirements that it does. And again, so there might be some misconception about automation and then agents thinking. You control, like we build in the parameters of what they're able to do. So don't be confused about, it's going to run and just do anything that it wants because it's thinking. No, it only does the steps that we put in there and that you put in there that you need for your business. So for this one is a good example of a logistics company that we're working with. We created this agent because we wanted the power of 10 developers in one agent. And what this agent does is does a variety of things, which Paul can attest to as well. So it does content, it builds pages, it does all of the technical backend of this website, that it builds schema markup, it puts FAQs and makes sure that it's all correct. It does the site maps. And then it also does searching in the local area to find queries of people that are searching, and then it'll update content based around that. So it does the work of tons of people, and it's very effective.
You just mentioned over 6 tasks in one agent.
Yeah. And this is just one agent that's doing that. So what we like to look at are the gaps of the business. And it's not to build everything at once. It's to say, like, okay, what's one business problem that involves a lot of people doing manual work that we can create a system around? And that's what the agent is for. And maybe let's have a conversation too, because a lot of people are familiar with Gemini, they're familiar with ChatGPT, they're familiar with Claude, but those are just part of the models. What we like to do is use the best, all of the models that we need. So the name of the game now is not just to use one. One's not better over the other. It depends on the agent and the task. But we use a platform and we select all of the agents, whatever ones we want to build, or all of the models that we want to build the agent. And that's just a distinction, is that it's no longer just one model over the other. It's using all of them, the best ones.
Yeah, now that you're talking about just one agent itself, if you realize what Jason just mentioned, he said multiple tasks under one agent. Not only that, but we tell that one agent the no-nos, what exactly he can do and what we don't want him to do. So usually for people who are just getting started with AI, some people just ChatGPT, just find happen after you type in your prompt is that the GPT will actually search whatever information it thinks is relevant. Let me say that again, whatever information. Sometimes it actually brings back outdated information. And that's something that not a lot of people knows it. So sometimes you can, and this happened to all of us, we've been fighting with AI, with different agents. Hey, but how come are you telling me this? You shouldn't be telling me this because we know about this other topic. And it actually asks for forgiveness. It happens to me with the AI. Oh, I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong information. So part of this is just adding the right skill or the right parameters so the agent can run without errors. And that's just one part of what we do. And what you see here is that we add several things that we know and we keep updating that knowledge base. That's when the agent knows exactly your brand. And to Jason's point, this is a custom agent and a custom dashboard or command center for your business. It's not a new tool that you need to buy or a new subscription. It's literally creating your own command center and being able to manage that agent. And not only that, just adding the right components of that agent. I think it's extremely important that we underscore this, because there's a lot of misunderstanding about AI, thinking that, oh, AI can't do anything. You have to understand how AI works, the different models that are out there, because right now we're building this. But then if the models change, which they are changing constantly, we can change it on the back end for you. You don't even have to become an AI expert or keep up with all the AI upgrades that we have.
And another pain point that, and that's a good point, Gilbert, too. And another pain point that we saw when we did our research for this is, again, it's very common, but the manual processes are crushing your business as an owner, and as a if you have employees, they're crushing your business. So we need to off-put some of that manual work as we can to agents, and they can do it differently as well. And this is a great example of, there's certain agents that are doing manual work. You don't have to do the manual work anymore. There's things that you do need to do, but we're more of, now it's a different level. It's like where we're making sure that the agents are giving us the data that we need. So you're going to spend less time when you have these agents. You're going to spend, and what I do every day is I have a session where I do an agent review and I make sure everything is good with my agents all day, but that takes 20 minutes versus all of the micro manual work that they're doing, each one of them, which takes the full day. That's no longer it. It's making sure that the agents are giving you the outputs that you need, and then you can analyze that data, and then you can make sure that your systems are connected, and your staff, if you have staff, that they have what they need. And then you can create layers of control as well if they have access to this information.
Yeah, to that point, that analysis now is better, because back in the days, like we say back in the days, but that's like a year ago or 2 years ago, we had to go gather all the data and then make sure we had the right data to interpret that data. Now everything is there, so the interpretation part of the data it takes longer, so it's easier. For me, at least, just looking at all the accounts that we manage over 20 accounts on Google Ads, on Meta Ads. We have multiple other accounts where when I get now the data in one place, I can now understand it. And if I need to take a deep dive, I can go into each channel and try to gather information, which, by the way, is important. And that's part of our recommendations, including as part of your digital workforce or your AI workforce. a whistleblower, an agent that can notify you, hey, there's going on, something is wrong with agent 3 or agent 5. And that way you don't have to be on top of your command center. The command center can just send you information, text you, or send you emails.
Yeah, and I go back to the data too, because these are any agent you create, because it has all of your unique requirements. It has memory, it has storage, it's things that we build in there. It is you can get the best input if you ask it questions, but it's one thing to see all the data before you, but what does the data mean? And this can help you interpret the data a lot faster as well. When you ask better questions, you can dig deeper, and then you can, for instance, have segment analysis or intelligence built into it by asking, what does this data mean? Does it for marketing and sales? It could be, well, if we get different response rates, or if we have different customers that come in, it could say, oh, well, based on this research, maybe we should expand into new markets. But it can use all of this in the agent and create like better, more insights that are already just there right now. Because right now there's a lot of data in there, but we're not using the tools. And that's another part of the agents can be used as a research tool to improve its own workings, but also to improve the decisions you make with that data for your business.
Yeah, one of the experiences that we have with the whistleblower was we had a whistleblower sending a notification because part of the inventory on the fulfillment part wasn't being completed. And that was never addressed, never in the entire business. With a business with over 20 years, everything was manual. So, of course, there were people on the fulfillment center when someone orders from the e-commerce side, then the fulfillment will receive an email or a message. Hey, you have to put this here. But then the wraps and everything that they use to actually send that package, that inventory wasn't really carefully looking at. So after we added the whistleblower, we were able to actually identify that bottleneck, and the business started. It wasn't that much. It wasn't like on the $1 million, but they started generating more money because they saw a gap between the process. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's those small things. That's how AI can also help things that you don't have on your pipeline.
Yeah, let's address point 5 too. I don't know if you have that on the slide. Point 5, where it's buying more tools made it worse, because what people are wondering now, and there is if you just scroll on any LinkedIn feed, people are saying, "Oh, well, how do you prove ROI with AI?" I don't know if you have that point that we researched there. Yeah, there it is. So how do you prove ROI? Well, it should be immediately. Yeah, it should be immediately proven. Like right now, there's a lot of technical waste if you buy a lot of tools, and the issue is that how do you prove ROI if it solves your problem immediately? Right now, you can build something in a matter of a few days that solves a real problem that's customized directly for your business. So if you know your business problem, you know that if you had some kind of solution that could help, it's going to provide immediate ROI. So if there's any questions of the tools you're using that they don't provide an ROI, it's because either the business problems are not clearly defined, they're not being used well, or people are just using them and billing credits, not using them appropriately. But that's kind of the thing is now you can build it rapidly, and you can see immediate return. If you need leads, you can create a lead engine. And so that's the ROI. Does it deliver leads in a few days? It can. Or if you need market intelligence, you want to go into a new market, but you need data to make that decision. Well, does it get the data? Does it give you better analysis? So you know what you need to prove the ROI as the leader of your logistics business. You know what the problem is that needs to be solved. The thing with AI tools is that they can use custom agents and custom systems that should solve them immediately. So there is no question on whether it's delivering ROI.
Yeah, sometimes it's difficult to, you're right, identify the ROI on the operation side. But sometimes it's even more difficult to run the operations yourself. So when you start counting hours that you lost, and that's a good way I look at it. How many hours did it take me to gather over 20 reports on a weekly basis? That was full 1 or 2 days, almost 16 hours of my days just gathering data for each account, and then just reading everything for each person. And now it's just that time, 16 hours, I'm saving 16 hours. Of course, I don't have like an income from that 16 hours, but if I put a dollar amount to my hour per hour, then you will be able to see that ROI. So sometimes it's just like, just to your point, we don't see the dollar amount in a checkout page, but you really need to see
Time savings. Time
time
savings is a
savings.
huge.
Exactly.
I mean, just imagine, you've got a group of 20 salespeople. If you still have them manually entering lead data into HubSpot, that is so much time that they're wasting, when you could have an agent that does it ethically, responsibly, updates your system, so they could be out there prospecting more and having better conversations versus doing automated data entry. So those are the kind of things that, time is money, right? So the first ROI benchmark is definitely going to be the time that you're going to save, the headache, the frustration, and it's going to give you clarity. And then the money will come after, because you're going to be making better decisions with the time and better activities with the time that you have. So it's definitely related.
Yeah, and this is a great way. As you can see, on the command center, we have 2, 4, 6, 8 agents running multiple tasks at the same time. From an operational perspective, this is great, because I don't like, by the way, I don't like to say that these are replacing humans. These are assisting humans. Like Jason's point at the beginning of the workshop, these are like superpowers for each person that will give you. These are extremely great assistants. So we can include an agent as part of your operational structure, and we also use agents on the marketing side. And should we jump into how the SEO and stuff, or do you want to cover other?
Well, let's tie that into point 6. Point 6 there is, it's the right way to do it. You find the gap in audit, and right now a big gap, and Paul could speak to this. Right now, search engine SEO is still very relevant, but a lot of business owners need to know, how do they start ranking on ChatGPT? How do they start ranking on Gemini? How do they have a right FAQ that's going to be there first on Google? And so if you have that gap in your business, and that's what it is, you need to create a micro solution to solve that problem. That's the right way to do it. It's not to build something so crazy and complex and doing a waterfall method of the way that software development used to be, where you create the solution perfectly. No, it's rapid, it's iterative, it's very fast, but you need to find that first gap. And a lot of it, the first gap is something that has to do with GEO or AEO, or even SEO as well. So Paul can speak to that as well.
Yeah, talking about assisting humans too. Like, instead of spending all the time, like we're saying, we have all this data with social media and marketing, all these different numbers, and we're trying to interpret them. With these agents, they can tell you, hey, this content's doing this. You need more of this content. It'll increase these metrics for you. And instead of spending all that time trying to translate all this data, you can actually make the content that the AI source, because your AEO is on AI. So you're getting it directly from the horse's mouth. And they're like, this content's going to rank better for you. And you can spend that time making the content instead of trying to figure out what content to make.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's kind of the point, is you get the real information. There's no guesswork. In a way that we used to do it before is, we've done lots of podcasts, lots of business talks. We would do our own research. As a person, I can only do so much. There's a point where I'm not going to spend 30 hours researching, but I could do my research, find conversations and find titles and all that. But you don't really have to do it that way anymore. You just find the people that are having the conversations, having the issues, having the problems. And this is, customers, potential partnerships. The conversation, the data is out there. You can use the tools to find it, and then you build your content around those real conversations. So now the AI technology just makes it very fast and rapid that you can do it.
Yeah, and we actually, let's dive in deep now on the image that we have on screen. So I remember, where's the camera? Oh, right here. So you're kind of halfway there, Paul. So we have a wider graphic here saying that SEO is changing. I really like the last case study that we're building with a logistics firm, because we know that part of the people who are searching online, and this is a huge part, just ask anyone, have you searched on ChatGPT? Have you searched on Copilot? The system will give you the answers, but you don't really see it, at least not yet. I know that there are some ads coming, but at this point, we are counting on Google Ads and also GEO part of the and you can expand a little bit, Paul. Part of what we did in just 2 months since we started with working the logistic company with GEO 2 months ago.
Yeah.
In just 2 months we started showing up the brand and the URL on AI browsers and on ChatGPT. We know this because we have Google Analytics connected, and we started seeing, all right, so it's working. And the way that we do this is with multiple touch points. Can you address that part a little bit, the touch points that we have to build?
Yeah, so we know that you need different touch points to show up in order to get on these systems, like to show up in these results. So when you have your social content linking these things, having these keywords, having these questions that people ask, then that's going to rank it higher on AEO. If people are looking for logistics in South Florida and you're answering on social media logistics in South Florida, we know that that's going to get you on those answers. So like you were saying, Gilbert, going from basically nothing to just using these agents and saying, what are people asking? Where are they asking? We used that in our content and immediately started showing up in these systems.
Yeah, it's crazy because we also, of course, added the basic SEO, citations, and having backlinks. And we built the right website, back to Jason's example about the web builder. So we have the data points, but imagine just to Paul's example, someone is looking for a logistic firm in South Florida. We have a social media post, we have a citation, we have a backlink, we have an article. So we have multiple data points, and in just a fraction of a second, the AI will actually search which link has the most significance and has the most authority, and this authority is based on those points. So the agents not only help us in the, let me bring, sorry, I removed Jason for a second. 1 second. Okay, there we are. We have the image. So we have the operations side of agentic AI, or the agents that we build, but then we have the execution part where we actually implement this in our marketing campaigns, on sales campaigns that we do, some outreach. It's extremely interesting, and the command center, we're very happy. We can add just back to the command center, we can add your logo to your own command center and build the command center however you want, however the needs of the client are right now. I don't know if you want to add anything else to the command center, or the content that you're sharing with the new app that you have, Jason.
Well, so the final point is point 7 is how to know it's working. And I think it's really, again, you're going to know it's working if you're getting the results that you want. And part of this too is that right now agents do require maintenance. It is another skill, and they're fun to work with. Sometimes you have to yell at them. They're kind of like, sometimes they can get off task or build the wrong thing like really well. And it can be cost effective. So it is a skill to learn this. And this is what we specialize in, because there is a ramp up to get the agents working correctly. And so but when you get the data that you want, and this is what people don't get, is you get to go faster to see your problems. In the case of a website, hey, if you build an agent, it's getting you 10,000 new organic impressions and no one's converting. Well, you got to the problem faster because you had more data.
Exactly.
That's like telling you, okay, cool. Like we cracked the code on the traffic, but now the next problem is, well, there's something wrong on our website. So you would never, if you didn't get to that second problem, then you would never know that. So this allows you to get to your problems faster. And that's the way that I look at it, is use agents, custom agents, to solve your custom business problems. Do it in a micro amount, but uncover those real problems faster, because that's, as a leader, Gilbert and Paul, you guys know this. You can make an assumption and make the wrong decision about something because it's like what you think is the problem. But the agents are going to help you get to the real problem. On a business, it might be the real problem is the messaging on your website, but you would never know because you don't have the organic traffic. You don't have that comparison. This allows you to get there faster. This allows you to improve your operations so you can see in your sales team, if you remove the bottleneck of manual data entry from your pipeline, and then you get better analysis from the actual clients you have a better research engine and better way to train your sales team. that they can just be self-sufficient with their leads as well. So look at every element: operations, sales, marketing, and service, and pick one problem, and agents can help you race towards it and solve it quickly. And then again, it has to be refined over time, but it's just the rapid way that people are working now, that we're working with a command center and then agents in tandem and using all of the models, not just one, all of the models, the best model for the job.
Again, you can find all our links on the description. We can have a quick meeting to see if we are a good fit for each other and in our multiple divisions. Feel free to reach out, and I hope that you guys like our content. We'll try to keep up with this on a weekly basis. Again, this is just part of our weekly meetings, and we're just taking a couple of minutes to actually record. Oh, Paul, I lost you. To record and document. Basically, that's what we're doing, because you don't see any other B-roll or anything. It's just documenting everything. We're available on DM on LinkedIn, or just click one of the links on the description, fill out the form, and we'll be able to meet with you and see if we're a good fit for each other. Once again, thank you, and I hope to see you next week. We have a great topic. It's available on LinkedIn and YouTube, so make sure you subscribe so you get the notification. Thank you, guys.
Bye.